Hey and welcome back. Today we're going to continue our series in walking through Guitar Rig 6 where I show you my favorite components and applications of Guitar Rig for things that are not guitar. Because Guitar Rig 6 is very versatile like that. You can use it for anything you want. Your effects, your channel strips, your filters, EQs, compressors, distortion, reverb, delays, whatever have you. So today we're going to take a look at emulating the classic analog style channel strips within Guitar Rig 6. So say you have like a drum bus set up for this drum loop I have over here. Basic acoustic drums, boring, and I'm looking to spice it up with an SSL type channel strip. So let's open up Guitar Rig. And what we have here is the solid EQ, dynamics, and bus comp loaded up. And you basically just set them here from the menu. You can drag them in. But these were also, like many other effects in Guitar Rig 6, released first as a standalone and then later on implemented in Guitar Rig. And they have a special GUI that's uniform and specific to Guitar Rig 6. So most of these standalone plugins now have a much older and dated looking GUI compared to the versions in Guitar Rig 6. So for us GR6 owners, that's a bonus. We're ahead of the curve here. And okay, so you just drag in your EQ, your dynamic section, and your solid bus comp. And a great thing about Guitar Rig is you can order them in any way you want. So you want the EQ before the dynamics or after the dynamics, or I want the bus comp before the other dynamic section, because the signal flow in Guitar Rig goes from top to bottom. So whatever comes first at the top of the chain, that's where the audio passes through first, and then it goes on to the next module. Very straightforward. But let's set it up like normal classic SSL type of channel strip would. So that's the EQ first, and the dynamics. That's also just the way I prefer it. And let's just process the heck out of these drums. And over here, we can set the EQ to have it in the style of the E channel or G channel. Pretty self-explanatory for any of you guys who've worked with an SSL EQ. You got your high pass and low pass filters. Only thing that bugs me here in this one is this is very logical. You move the high pass filter clockwise to filter out the lows. Then for the low pass filter, you do the same. For me, that makes more sense when you go anti-clockwise. You start out here on the right with the high frequencies and then drag it anti-clockwise to filter down the high frequencies. But however, let's just get going. Let's just make some big moves. No one's going to get hurt. No one's going to die. So what's the worst that can happen? Some low end. Just a lot of low end. Let's set this to shelf. Nah. You can set the high end to either a shelf or a bell, which is handy. Without it, with it, obviously this is a bit louder now, so I have to compensate for that gain I added. All right, let's switch between the E and a G. Not hearing that much of a difference here, but okay, let's head to the dynamics section. We have the compressor and the gate expander here. Now let's just see what the gate does. We all know what a gate does, don't we? It's become more of an effect now. Expander. I'm not going to use this one because I want the room sound in there. All right, so let's check the channel compressor. It's different from the solid bus compressor, obviously, because this would be the compressor that would be incorporated in the SSL channel, whereas the bus compressor would be on just one instance on 2 bus. Set the ratio up. As you can hear, this one has that automatic gain compensation, makes it a bit louder. You can filter out the low end, but it doesn't react to the low end as much. Steepness of the filter. Mix in some of the dry signal. Without it, with it, all right, so now right now it's quite bass heavy, so I want to work that a little bit with the solid bus comp. So you exaggerate the low end first here, and then you tuck it in a little with a compressor, giving a very tight, controlled low end. Hear how that low end is now a little more controlled without it? Bit too boomy here with it. Less boomy. Also, a bit more snap and punch. So let's hear that completely bypassed. Very polite sounding. Now with it engaged, far more aggressive sounding. And the room sound gets a bit more exaggerated. Without it, and again, now with it. Okay, just per example, but you know, you can make your own custom analog style channel strip plugin like this. But what if we want, say, an SSL type EQ in our channel strip, but 1176 instead of a solid bus comp? It's all possible in Guitar Rig. And I'm going to show you how. Let's say we get rid of this. Let's delete all of it, in fact. Just drag in the solid EQ and then filter the modules or the components on Dynamics. And look what we have here. The 1176 emulation that was designed by Softube, which is also released by Native Instruments as a standalone plugin. But it's got the better GUI in Guitar Rig 6. That's a win for us. Already that 1176 is doing a lot. Let's smash the living daylights out of it with this 1176. We do the all-in ratio. You see, this is not handy, Native Instruments. I'm working with a mouse here. Now I have to go to the input knob, increase the gain. Oh no, now it's too loud. I have to decrease the output knob. Automatic gain compensation, please. Someone. We're smashing it right now, right? That's the point. All right, so it doesn't have a dry wet knob, but it does have a dry knob with which you can mix in more of the dry signal. So you kind of get a parallel processing type of idea. Same with the solid bus comp. So let's mix in some of that. All right, I need to check my gain. So what I'm quickly going to do right here is just add a volume after. So I can quickly, without any fuss, just adjust the gain. Without. And with. Way roomy and boomy. All right, but what if I want a different EQ in this? Yes, it's all possible. Let's go. Delete this, go over to the EQ section, and we have a couple of other EQs, not a lot, not as elaborate as the solid EQ. let's add the custom EQ, which I do not recommend for any kind of surgical EQ stuff or anything. It's just very super simplified EQ. Let's see what that custom EQ sounds like. Sweepable frequency. That's over here. Right? So you get what this is. This is more of a tilt EQ, right? You set the center frequency, tone, scoop. It sounds a bit more brighter, and with this engage we make it darker and more bass heavy. Right, just basically with one EQ band. Okay, let's get back to solid EQ. And let's try another compressor. Because Guitar Rig 6 does have quite a few awesome compressors. And so we have this 1176 that is from the Softube bundle, which is also, this one is also part of the Softube bundle. But to me, as is this LA2A modulation or LA2A model, but those are not the most interesting to me. Let's get Supercharger in here. Now, Supercharger is also a compressor plugin that was released by Native Instruments as a standalone plugin first, and then later it got absorbed by Guitar Rig 6. Guitar Rig 6 is kind of like the hive mind, the Borg. It assimilates everything in Native Instruments portfolio. Okay, let's see what this sounds like on drums. I can already tell you it sounds great on drums. For drums, I want to set a high pass filter to about 300 because you want to keep the low end intact. I'm going to boost the low end a little with the solid EQ and then play around with the compressor. All right, over here we have an LED light, which is telling us if we need to give it more gain on the way in or less. Right now, the arrow is on the left telling us, okay, increase the input gain a bit until the LED hits the green light. Now, 3 different modes: gentle, punch, and slam, which are actually presets for the compressor. Let's go through them both. All 3 of them, I mean. So you can see the attack and release settings here change when I click on the different presets. And if we're just increasing compress amount about halfway, you can hear better what it's doing. Of course, you can see fast attack and release times. It slams it a bit more. Slower attack times gives it more punch. That was a bit hard. Let's decrease the output when we do that. Now, if you increase the character dial, right now we have it set to fat. So if you increase the character to the fatness, you get more bottom end here. What if I set it to warm? Rolls off the high end a bit more. What if I set it to bright? Obvious. All right, let's dial that back. Now, saturation, pretty self-explanatory. We have mild saturation, moderate, or very hot, which completely destroys the signal. I guess you can use that for effect, but used in moderate amounts, without it, and with supercharger. Let's set it to mild for now. You want to engage supercharger. A bit more snap. High end is more vibrant. I can hear a bit more of the room. Kind of like an unveiled sound. And it has a sidechain input, which can be useful to use it as ducking compressor. Because in your DAW here in Logic, you can set the sidechain input, and then the incoming signal will duck. The compressor will engage the compressor. Also pretty self-explanatory. Let's see. Yeah. Another neat trick would be to add a transient designer, which is all possible. It's all possible in guitaring. And let's see. Let's just mess around with it first. Actually, for drums like this, and for most drums, my personal preference is I don't use transient master a lot. I have the Elysia one, Envelope, which is my favorite transient designer. And if I'm just looking to increase the bite a bit more, to make the transients on the drums pop a bit more, I never use a compressor for that. Uh, I just use the transient designer and up the attack a little bit. Without it, and with it. Let's feed that into Supercharger and set the attack time to fast and release time to fast. All right, so that really smashes the sound, right? See how you can feed transient master into a compressor like that, and still, even though you have the compressor setting, the attack set to fast, which kills the transients, which you can hear right now. You engage the transient master, so transient designing before to increase the attack. you retain a bit more of the transients. Now I can hear you say, why not just increasing takt time on the compressor? It just gives you a different sound, because right now we're looking for that smashing sound. This. If I increase the takt time, it leaves more of the transients alone. Let's not grabbing on that fast to the rest now. Whereas this does, and you know, when you make up the gain, it brings out more of the room. It's just, you know, the great thing in audio is, and especially now with DAWs and everything, you can try anything on anything, and nothing's permanent, and nobody's going to get hurt, nobody's going to get killed. You can literally try anything and anything. I'm amazed sometimes how on forums, people are amazed that, I don't know, some developer comes out and say the tool is some kind of bus processing tool and it's for drums, and people are amazed. Well, it sounds, wow, it sounds great on piano. I'm like, yeah, you know, we're creatives. Just try anything on everything, really. See what it sounds like. You know, what bad can come of it? Get creative. One last compressor, and then I'm gonna close this up, because we're gonna get onto the next video, which goes into very creative channel strips, and that's for basically fucking sound up beyond recognition for creative effect. And let's get the LA2 in here. Set it to limit. High pass to about 200. Without it. With it. All right, let's EQ the sound afterwards. I'm getting a bit too much low mids there. Let's remedy that. That and with. Oh, but it's louder. Okay, I'm working on it. Calm down. Right, that's all there is to it. You drag modules in and you're not stuck to whatever configuration the developer says you have to use it in. Like any Waves or Plugin Alliance SSL type channel strip, you can just make your own Frankenstein channel strip analog style here, whatever you want. You know, hybrid with old analog modules and components, or throw in some new modern type of stuff like the Transient Designer and stuff. Okay. Hope you enjoyed this, and stick around for the next one. We're going to get hyper creative with mangling sound with very creative channel strips for sound design. Okay, thanks again for watching, and see you all again in the next episode. Cheers.